Hello, let's try that again. We're back, keeping it real. That's the thing about a live broadcast. If you don't have your ducks in a row, you're going to be in trouble. But we believe we have them here, and we started on time this week, so we're so glad that you stuck with us. And I'm here. We have a great show lined up. I have some great guests here with me at the hot table. Is Roman Bondarchuk. Roman, welcome.
Thank you very much, David.
Roman is a man of many talents. He sells real estate, but not one condo at a time. He sells them in droves. His claim to fame is that he has a new claim to fame, which he'll tell you about in a moment, but he has sold units in the hundreds in a matter of hours. Because he's an online marketing expert. And I think that's what he brings to the table that a lot of other real estate companies don't bring. And he represents condo developers all around the world in many cities, many different countries. So we're going to hear about his business and what he's doing at N5R. He's the chairman and CEO. I got that right, the numbers and the letters in the correct order. Very good. Also, a little bit later in the show, we have Eden Wall, who's also a TV producer. And Eden Wall happens to be our sales and marketing VP as well. So he's going to talk to you. He's also got some tips to offer about being a salesperson. He is a real, he's what you call a closer. I call him the closer. And he can offer you some good tips. And he can also tell you some good things about how internet TV can help you. Because let's face it, this is the future. Everything is online. And there's nothing like TV, like being able to talk to people and interact with them online. So that's what we're all about, and Eden's going to fill you in more on that. But let's get down to business right now with Roman Bondarchuk from N5R.com. Roman, welcome. How are you today?
Terrific. Thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
It's absolutely my pleasure. So now, you came at this from a marketing point of view. That was your expertise. What can you tell us about how does somebody go about selling 300 condos in one day? Well, I'm sure our listeners would love to hear about it.
It kind of happened as an accident. So this is, I'll take you back to September of 1998. Our first real estate project was with Tridel. And Tridel is the largest condo developer in Toronto, been that way for about 60 years. But they had one tough project, and it was in an area of downtown that you consider, wow, that's a great area. But at the time, it wasn't the most desirable. So we ran an online contest called myfreetridelhome.com. Okay. So the idea was we actually gave away a free condo, which had never been done before, on the internet, and people had to go to myfreetridelhome.com to register. Over 38,000 people registered, and we asked them a lot of questions, about 72 questions. It took about 20 minutes to fill out this online questionnaire, but we knew the income, if they're renting, if they're owning, if they ride bicycles, if they like movies. We knew so much about them. From that database, which we captured about 70% of the online community that we're going to buy condos, we're able to segment that database and send very personalized emails. Long story short, $100 million of condos were sold, and that's where we started. So in the last 14 years, we've sold $4.7 billion of condos in 10 countries in 30 years. So my experience is about 200 days a year in sales offices, working with condo sales reps, helping them basically improve some of their skills. And a lot of developers just have kind of missed the opportunity of the internet. And we help the developers kind of go from offline to online. You'd be surprised, sitting here in 2012, how many marketing plans really haven't changed since the 80s. Right. So that's kind of what we do every day.
Well, that's amazing. That's a very bold move to offer a free condo. But what a valuable database you must have created.
The database was huge, David, and I think what a lot of developers don't understand, and maybe a lot of realtors don't understand, is the value of their database. I can tell you that we sold a penthouse condo over $2.2 million to that database. That's 13 years old. So this is not about a database for today. Of course you want to generate leads for today, but if you mine it properly, this is a database that will keep paying you for over a decade. Right. And I think that a lot of people don't take their databases seriously enough. And that's really the power of the technology today.
That's a very good point. I was on a sales course recently, and the instructor repeated more than once. He said, number one rule of sales, people don't buy when you want them to buy. They buy when you're ready. And how often, in the old system of selling, we call somebody up, or we send them an email, or we do something, and it's like, well, we want them to buy, but maybe in 6 months or a year or 5 years, because actually this course, I was getting their emails for 5 years, and I had ignored them, and all of a sudden something in me said, you know what, it's the right time for me now. So I went on his course, and that's exactly what it is. He says the money's in the list.
Yes, it's a great example, and I've lived through this myself. I spoke at a conference in Florida. It was about 5 years before this call had happened, and I took a lot of business cards from that event, and we do monthly newsletters, etc. But I hadn't actually spoken to this person. 5 years later, I got a phone call, and they said, we've got such and such a project. It was a very big, huge, famous project. And I said, great, would you like us to come in and present? They said, no, we've already awarded you the project. And I said, well, what do you mean? They said, well, we've been following you guys for years. We know everything you've been doing, and we knew that you were the best qualified. So this was a 7-figure opportunity that came only because we had the discipline to keep up with our email campaigns and probably do a pretty good job over the years. So the power on the list is incredible. Yeah. So I completely agree. But it's even easier today. So today, when leads come in, there's systems that, for example, that we use that you can actually see their LinkedIn profile, their Twitter profile, their Facebook profile. So before you even pick up the phone to call them, you know about as much about them as their spouse does.
Right.
So think of the power of that, having that kind of information real time. So we couldn't have imagined that a year or two ago, but today we have that. And then we can follow them over the years and see how their business is heading or where they're moving to. So it's a really exciting time to be a database marketer.
Right. Yeah. Very, very good point. Now you mentioned you do seminars from time to time. Can you we have an audience of real estate agents mainly watching. Are there some tips that you can offer them?
Well, we'll start off on the marketing side. I'm happy to talk about the sales side. On the marketing side, any dollars that a real estate agent, and I'll talk about real estate developers, are spending offline, they're literally spending 10 times more money for the same lead that they would have got online. So let me give you an example. Sure. If you did a LinkedIn ad campaign, LinkedIn is so powerful because let's say I listed a house, and I've listed a house in this particular area. Well, I can do a LinkedIn campaign to someone that can afford that house. Maybe it's a professional, for example, but within a half a kilometer radius or kilometer radius, I can even target an office building. So if I believe that my buyer could potentially be working in that building, I can create a very targeted online campaign just to that building, to certain executives in that building. And the best part of this, David, you only pay if it works. So only if that executive that lives in that office building clicks on that button, do I pay for it. So imagine paying for advertising only if it works.
Well, so this is advertising on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is an example. A lot of people have heard of Facebook advertising, which is fantastic. But the reason we like LinkedIn is because I can target by profession, literally down to an address level. Wow. So it's very powerful. So again,
that's very interesting. I better make a note of that.
It's really important. So that's the first marketing tip. On the sales side, and this is, I think, very important, and it's very similar to what you just described. A lot of people aren't ready to buy now. So I'll tell you from an internet lead perspective, 50% of your leads probably aren't even qualified. They had nothing better to do. They're just curious. So 50% of leads are just really not useful. So just understand that going into it. Of the 50% that are useful, only 20% are ready to do business with you now, and 30% in the future. So if you understand that coming into a sales process, knowing that half are just tire kickers, the other half are serious, but only 20% today, but 30% later, then you really think about a systematic follow-up process. So we've learned this the hard way, but now just understanding that today, I think it really puts the leads in perspective. Yeah. A lot of people say, oh, I tried that. Well, did you really try it? And how did you do it? So these are things that we've learned the hard way. They're very, very effective.
Yeah, it's common to learn that the hard way because people always think of how to chase the new customer, how to get the new customer.
Right.
And it's easier to follow up on existing customers as well, right?
And we're all guilty of this. And I'll take myself as an example. So today I got a phone call from an older client I haven't talked to in a year and a half, and we had done some great things together. But for a year and a half, I didn't pick up the phone and call them. It was shame on me. But luckily, they called today and they said, hey, remember that campaign we did? It was really successful. We'd like to revisit that. So a lot of times we spend all of our energy chasing that new business,
Right.
but there's a gold mine in the old business.
True.
And on the real estate side, I'll give you a personal story. I bought a new townhouse years ago, and the developer and I didn't really see eye to eye. We didn't really get along. But if he had called me or picked up the phone today and said, hey, I've got a new project, and I haven't released it to the market, and maybe I'll get you a better price, even though we don't really like each other,
Yeah.
we'd probably do business. The point of that story is we'd rather do business with people, even if we don't necessarily like them, but at least we know them,
Right.
versus a stranger.
That's true.
So I think a lot of real estate agents, and we get this all the time, for example, Dave, we come into a condo project, and I say, well, how many leads do you have? Oh, we have 800 leads or X amount of leads. But the sales team said, yeah, they're done, they've worked them. Every single time I've experienced this around the world, we take that list, we call them, we email it. We always get sales out of it. So this happens all the time. And I think a lot of times, just because someone's not returning your call doesn't mean they're not interested. So what we do today on the website is we're able to see, did they come back to the site? We get an alert. Oh,
Right.
John Smith is now back on the site. Oh, they just read our blog. Oh, they just checked out our Facebook post. So having that intelligence is very, very useful as well.
Right, that's pretty awesome, Roman. What you guys are doing. Some very valuable lessons there, and you've obviously taken those lessons and really put them into play, because I mean the kind of database management you're doing is pretty incredible. Now you also produce a TV show.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Well, it was actually an idea that came to us from your next guest, from Eden Wall, and he said, you guys are marketing this really visual product. And he came and said, there's really no one doing this on a television network. And I knew he was right, because TV is very powerful. We've all seen those Hollywood movies where we've seen those actors many, many times, and we know it's fictional, but we cry. We're crying during that movie. It doesn't make sense. I've seen that actor, I know it's fictional, because your subconscious doesn't know what's real, what's not when you're watching a video.
Right.
And some of the statistics that I knew about, that the average Canadian reads one book per year, but they watch 5 hours of TV every day.
Yeah.
I knew that they weren't reading our brochures. They weren't even reading our websites, because we could see the average person's on a page for 3 seconds. It's hard to read a whole page in 3 seconds. So I knew he was right. And we went to a couple of our initial clients and said, listen, let's produce this TV to tell the story of your project. And they said, oh, we already have that. And I said, no, what you have is some kind of 3D virtual tour of your building, but I want to hear, tell me the story of how you acquired this property, why this neighborhood, and who are you? Let's really get the story of it. And the powerful part of this, it became our greatest sales tool. Now the developers don't just use this on the TV show, they use it in their sales offices. And they train their sales reps, as soon as a prospect comes in, offer tea, coffee, have a seat, press play on the video, because they're getting the story of the project. So our TV show has really turned out to be our greatest sales tool.
We have one queued up here. This is the King West development in Liberty Village. And let's see if we can get the computer running here.
This is Plaza. Plaza is the #1 condo seller in downtown Toronto. They've been around for an awful long time, and nobody sells more than these guys do in Toronto. It's a great video.
Strong Avenue to the east, and basically Dufferin Street to the west. So Liberty Village is certainly centrally located in the downtown core of the city, but simple access by jumping on the King streetcar. There's a bus that comes right through Liberty Village, a TTC bus that comes right through Liberty Village that can get you downtown in literally minutes. We're also located just north of the Island Airport. So easy access over to the island, and easy access to many destinations.
Everything you could possibly want is within walking distance. You have a multitude of shops, restaurants, grocery stores, as well as entertainment venues. In addition to that, the entertainment district is just minutes away, plus there are several parks nearby. The reason so many people love living in Liberty Village is that it's a very safe neighborhood. Many young professionals, single women have chosen to live in this area because of that reason.
The great thing about Liberty Village is it exists. It's here. When we talk about the restaurants and the vibrancies of the stores and the residential component that includes young families and young entrepreneurs that are working in the downtown core or in areas that are here, Liberty Village is a location that is in its final throes of completion. You got to come down and see it. You've got to come down and enjoy the lifestyle that's here. It is second to nowhere in the country, quite frankly. And we're actually starting occupancies this summer. What makes this project?
Okay, so that gives our viewers an idea. So that show runs daily on the shopping channel?
We're on a couple networks now. So now we're on CHCH, which is the oldest network in the country, and that's on Saturdays between 11:30 and 12. We're on Rogers, Channel 21, which is Shop TV, on Thursday and Friday nights between 6:30 and 7. And each of our episodes are little, like that's a 5-minute clip
Right.
on that project. They run on the real estate channel, which is on Channel 251, and it's on 24 hours a
okay.
day. So every 3 hours, one of our videos appears. So there's lots of ways to see it. But my suggestion for real estate agents is these videos used to cost a lot of money to produce. And now with technology, the price have come up, they're just, it's amazing. It's so affordable. But there is no more powerful marketing tool you could ever develop. So whether it's a video about yourself or your business or your property, it's the greatest marketing tool. And having worked on 150 projects, around the world, I'll tell you, the video is the most important sales tool that you can possibly invest in.
Okay, so Roman, I don't think the interview would be complete if I didn't ask you at least one question about the condo market, because some people do have some concerns, and I know this is your area of expertise. What do you? Is there any cause for alarm or concern with respect to the future of the condo market?
I believe there is. I think we have too much inventory in the city, and I think buyers have to be very careful of what they purchase. So the way we look at our business, anytime a condo, when the rent and the cash flow makes sense, it's a great idea. But anytime you're purchasing a condo, hoping and praying that's going to appreciate, and you're going to have a negative cash flow, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So there's a difference between being a speculator and an investor. And investors look for positive cash flow. And speculators are just hoping for the best. Mm-hmm. So I believe there's a lot of people that have kind of moved to the speculative side. The good news is there still are some, not a lot, but there are some projects in the city which do make financial sense, but a lot of them don't. And that's why you're starting to see canceled projects. So I think it's a time to be very careful. It's why the agent is so important right now, because they can help. There's 300 condo projects in the city being marketed right now. So a good agent really can help steer their client in the right direction.
Okay, now do you do any sales consulting with agents? If people are watching this and they thought, you're the guy to talk to if they want to improve their SEO. I know you have some ebooks available on your site. How can you help?
One of the things that we learned early on, the internet culture is about giving stuff for free. So our website on n5r.com, I just created a brand new ebook this week, which I think is our best one ever, about marketing, using technology for marketing. So we just put that on the site. We have some terrific ebooks and videos, and it's all free. Okay. So that's step one. Step two, if there was an office that really was looking to boost sales, we would be happy to come in and help share what we teach the developers and their sales teams, because it's all very applicable.
Okay, Roman, well, I thank you very much for coming to the studio today and sharing all that with us. It was very interesting, and congratulations on your success. I just want to mention that before we started this talk, you mentioned, you can't give us the details, I know, but you have a new claim to fame. You've sold the highest priced condo in Toronto, is that right?
Yeah, so we can't talk about it till it closes, but it will be not just the highest priced condo in Toronto, it'll be the most expensive residential real estate transaction in the history of Canada.
Wow.
So stay tuned for that announcement.
Can we say the figure?
Let's just say it's in excess of $30 million.
Okay, well, that's a good sale. I wouldn't mind the commission on that deal, or at least to arrange the mortgage. I'd be satisfied with that. Anyhow, thanks again, Roman. Appreciate it. Hang in there. We're going to be back with more interesting discussions. We have Eden Wall. He's the producer here and Sales and Marketing VP at All Talk TV. He's also the producer of an amazing project called The Dream Chaser. and we're going to check in on that too. It's a lot of fun. So hang in there. We'll be right back.